This is my first baking and decorating a cake in my new house. I've been on retirement for about 6 months because we were in the middle of packing and closing on our house and then moving into our house and getting everything ready. Although the kitchen is not quite ready yet because we are demoing it and redoing the whole thing. But for now, this is what has to happen in my kitchen. And I came out of retirement just this once to make a special cake for a special little girl. My niece will be 2 years old and my princess needs a beautiful cake. Her birthday theme is farm, so we are doing that. For this, I just baked the cake. One of the reasons I have been hesitant to bake, and some of my clients have been calling me and family members to bake them cakes, is because our appliances were here from the previous owner and I'm not quite, sure if they work properly, if the oven is, regulated the proper way, how I had everything in my older place. But I was able to do it. And also, I don't have all my equipment out. Everything is still in storage since we're gonna be demoing the kitchen eventually. I didn't take out a lot of the things that I normally have around so that, I can do my baking and my decorating. But I was able to pull it off. It's a small cake and that's why we were able to do it. I'm also gonna make cookies as well. And this is the two bases of the cake. This is the base, the bottom, and then this is the top. The top is like a little squared off and then tapered on the top because it's gonna be the shape of a little barn sitting on top of this cake, which will be the grass part area with some fencing around and then some animals. So I've finally got this going on and now I'm gonna do my favorite thing, which is coloring the fondant and rolling the fondant, kneading the fondant and doing all that so we can cover the cakes and then get all the details, which the details are my fun part, my zen time. The other stuff, not so much. But I'm ready to do the step of getting some green. This is gonna be green and this is going to be in a pink color. So the barn is gonna be a little pink color with a white roof and then the grassy area here. So that's what I'm getting ready to do for this cake. So happy to be back, so happy to bake, especially for my princess. One thing that I do wanna mention, and I think I've mentioned it before in some of my other videos, just so that you know, I am an organic baker. That's my thing. That's why my clients come to me, because they want fresh ingredients, natural ingredients, and that's what I try to give them. Now, it's on the pricier side because organic ingredients are on the pricier side. Although, the only thing that I really don't make organic, because I don't make it from scratch, is the fondant. And it's really hard to find something like that organic. So if you ever order a fondant cake from me, that is the only thing that is not 100% organic, but it's okay because most people just peel off the fondant anyway. I'm not a big fan of eating fondant. I'm gonna set these aside and I'm gonna get started on coloring, tinting this fondant. I got my green color going on. I just mixed some yellow and some blue to make green because since, again, I don't have all my equipment, I haven't really bought anything since we moved because I haven't been using my kitchen. I didn't have green color, so I just made the green. Hopefully this will be a good green for this fondant. So all I'm doing now is, why you need the gloves? Sometimes I forget because I'm in a rush and then I have the best manicure ever for days with my painted hands. But here I am just kneading it, making sure that I distribute that color. And then once I have it all green, then I can roll it out, which I just realized my fondant rolling pin is in a box somewhere in the attic. I'm gonna have to go find that. Green fondant is complete and the pink fondant is complete. And I did find my rolling pin and my rolling mat. So now I can do this. Basically, just roll it out, and then you're gonna cover this. This is an 8-inch cake. I love my mat. I'm gonna give you a closer look because it has the inches already built in. So I know how much I am going to need round on the top, and then on the sides, you kind of also measure it as well, how many inches of height, and you measure. You don't want to cut the exact same size. You want a little bit overlap, and because then you're gonna trim it off. But that's basically why I use this mat, because it gives me a guide of how much fondant to actually roll out. But let me show you a closer look of this mat. This mat is by Wilton Cakes. And then here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches, and then so on and so forth. It goes up to 22 inches. So my cake is 8 inches. So I know that the middle is going to be over here, and it's about 4 inches in height. So then from 8, I measure out 4 inches in height. Actually a little bit more than 4 inches in height. It's about 6 actually with the frosting and everything. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more to overlap. So I'll cut it right on the seam. For your fondant not to stick, you can do cornstarch or a little bit of powdered sugar or even a little bit of flour. The flour would take off a little bit of the shine of your fondant. So you might want to be very sparingly with that, but that's another trick so it doesn't stick. And then also your rolling pin, and then just roll away. My fondant is rolled out. I have my cake on the stand, and now time for the transfer. This is always the most scariest part of all. Oh, but I do need one tool. Let me see if I even have it in this mess of stuff that I have here that I was able to grab from my tools. Oh, yes, this little thing. It's kind of like a little ironing board, flat surface. So all you're going to do, gotta take off my notch, set it aside. Usually I just pull up my sleeves up a bit. Want it to stick. Then you can do it with your rolling pin, like set it over here, or your hands. Then put your cake right there, and then voila. Oops, it bent over here. Sorry, it's pretty forgiving. You just can't work with it too much because you can get some cracks. All right, and then kind of what I call skirting it. Just bringing down, just following the rhythm of the cake and skirting it. You don't want it to buckle. You want it to skirt, fan out. Just like that. Now, when using a pizza cutter, make sure that this pizza cutter is not the actual one that you use at home to cut your pizza, and that you have a special one for just the cakes. And if there's any gaps, you can just kind of like with your fingers. Do that and this. If you see any creases, you can smooth them out with this paddle. My perfectionist ways always has such trouble with this part because I hate seeing like little imperfections in the fondant. But I've learned to be okay with them, especially when I'm gonna cover it with something else. Like if it has a figure on it or something that's not gonna be noticeable of that crease or imperfection, whatever it is. Now time to cover the barn. I rolled out the pink fondant. For this one, I'm not gonna cover the whole thing because the rooftop of the barn goes a different color and then the sides are different. So I'm just going to cut a square or a rectangle and place it on here and do it that way. So I'm doing that all around. It's a building structure, so it doesn't really matter if it doesn't have seams. Again, see my icing, the frosting is a little bit on the drier side. So all you need to do for it to stick a little bit better is just add a little bit of water. Now I'm just gonna trim some of that excess one over here. Let me finish wrapping this cake and I'll show you the end result in a few minutes. I finally finished the barn, covered it up, and then I want you to take a closer look. I did the roof in a little bit of a tan brownish color, just using some brown, tiny bit. And then the little ends, I folded them inside to create kind of like this little lip effect. So all I have to do is do all the beautiful detail work that I like, that I enjoy, and make this come to life. Now that I have the best side of my cake, I'm gonna put dowels and then place this on top, about 4, right where you think the cake is gonna set, so the cake doesn't buckle inside. I do a tester first, because you're always gonna have to cut it and figure out where it is, and cut all of the rest the same size. Just make sure. Yep. Okay, I have some more here. And again, I'm always the type of baker that is always in quite of a rush because I'm baking from home, and in between my kids being at school and all their activities and baking. So I gotta do this quickly, this part, because I gotta go pick up my 4-year-old from preschool. Okay. That is good. If you want as well, you can put a little bit of icing on here. So I'm going to do that. In the front. And just clap it up. Okay. Now, how did I come up with this idea? Well, it was a barn-themed, farm-themed birthday party, and I went on Pinterest, I looked at a couple pictures, I saw the invitation, and I said, why don't we just make the top cake, because we wanted a two-tiered cake, the top cake, the shape of a barn, and then all the animals over here on the grass. And that's kind of where I came up with it. So I'm gonna put a little window here, like a little rooster somewhere, the barn doors, some fencing over here, and some other greens to kind of pop it up, and maybe a little bit of flowers and grass and some animals. But that's basically the cake. Now time for the fun details. I want you to get a closer look. So to create the wood barn panels, all I'm doing is that I'm taking this tool and I'm kind of just going up over here, spacing it out. I'm trying to be as straight as possible, as you can see, and going all the way up. So I'm gonna do that all around the cake. And this beautiful cake is complete. And sorry, I didn't record the rest of all the little details, like the little cow that I made, the little chickie, the flowers, the fencing, and all that stuff. It's pretty simple. Just take fondant and pretend that you're a kid and start rolling like when you were playing with Play-Doh. That's basically it. Look how cute, little cow. Happy birthday, Blair. Do you like your cake? She is stunned. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.